white shark makes a crappy job even harder to stomach.
It's a bit concerning.
Holy shit, Dave, what was that?
Matt sunk a small fortune into this huge machine.
Everything about this is heavy duty.
He's got to make money back.
Whoa!
Or go deeper in the hole.
So right now it's just dangling down there.
We've got a 41-year-old male, 15.
And the pressure pushes a diver to the brink.
He may never die again.
For 50 years, this family's built a business where nobody else dares. Recovering, repairing, resurrecting anything in the world's most dangerous waters. This is their world. Salt water in their blood, come hell and high water.
It's go time. Do or die.
That swagger in Matt's step is because today,
Come on back.
he gets to christen his $1 million baby.
I love my kids, I love my family, and I love ROVs. So this is it. This is the MRV-4. Lots of grunt force, push, thrust, pull. Sometimes you need to actually physically use this ROV as underwater tugboat. Today we're going to be moving the ROV. We're going to be running a full systems check, make sure everything's good. Hopefully we don't fuck shit up on the way in. Alright, keep coming.
This big machine has been sitting on the shelf since Matt bought it on an impulse 6 years ago.
Inside my head, the little hamster was jumping around and the Homer Simpson's going, woohoo! Right ahead, Ollie.
Not everyone thinks it was such a great idea.
Right now, we're into this ROV well over $1 million.
We'll shove the front end forward and then we'll drift her back.
Is there people around the office or the shop that think it's a bad idea? Of course there is.
Yeah, you're good, Ollie.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned. It's been here since 2014 and we haven't had it deployed on a job to date. So that's a problem.
Straight forward.
So it's up to me now and my team to make sure we get this ROV up and ready for the next job and out on the next job.
He's really optimistic on getting it up and running. We just don't think we're as close to getting that to it as what Matt thinks he is.
ROVs, aka remotely operated vehicles, are a critical part of Dominion Diving's fleet. They're mechanical minions that do jobs too deep and too dangerous for a human diver.
Prevents human life from being put at risk. We can throw an ROV in the water, do work, and if something happens to it, we bring it up, we fix it. It's not human life.
When this ROV, named the MRV, was made, it was the biggest and most advanced ever built. But Dominion hasn't found a way to use it yet. Today, after 6 years, Matt's finally found a big job to start covering his costs. It's doing deep water inspections on an offshore oil platform in the frigid North Atlantic. Matt's only got 2 weeks to get the ROV ready. Two weeks might seem like plenty of time.
Right now, we're mobilized on a barge.
But there's also 15 tons of support gear to be assembled, connected, and tested at the extreme depths it will face offshore.
Put the winch right here, then we hook this to the winch, that to the winch, then this here powers up from the generator. Let go, he's under the gun.
The MRV is the heart of the operation, but to launch it, there are a lot of moving parts. The A-frame, the crane that hoists the MRV on board, connects it to the tether management system, which spools out the umbilical cord, connecting it with the critical hydraulic and electrical systems. The brain of the operation is the control van. The pilot guides the MRV on its mission.
We're gonna mobilize, put the control van over on this side of the barge. All we have to do is connect them on, get this in the water, and run it through its paces. I can't wait.
The next morning, Sean's got to get everyone going on a new job for Dominion's human dive team. But they might have some unexpected company.
Great white sharks?
Scientists tag great white sharks with GPS units to track them for research. There could be sharks in the harbor every day, but thanks to the tags, they know for sure that a great white named Jane just swam right past Dominion's next job site.
So I'm just looking up. We've had a shark ping here this morning, just off or inside Halifax. It's a bit concerning. We have divers going to be diving in the harbor today.
I've got some chumsicles for lunch.
So all this shark talk, sometimes it's we say it jokingly and that, but do take it serious. Amongst the guys, we joke a lot about it, but we don't want to put anybody in harm's way. So we're close enough. We won't need the Zodiac. We'll just do the boat, probably the train wheel.
All right, well, that sounds cool. Let's do it. So we're pretty much good to go then, is that right? Kind of seems that way.
It's caused a bit of a stir. There's a 10-foot great white shark that they tracked just off McNabb's Island out there.
Sharks aren't the only thing they need to worry about in the water.
As you can see, it's kind of pretty full of holes, which isn't a good thing because we're going to be diving in shit today.
The guys are going over to Halifax to the sewer outfall, the shit outfall, whatever you want to call it.
The Dominion team are headed out to inspect the pipe that dumps wastewater from the sewage treatment plant into the harbor.
It just makes you want to get sick instantly, but somebody got to do it.
Halifax traffic, Dominion Bearcat, we're now departing Dartmouth Cove. We're going to be anchoring just offshore of the water treatment plant.
Back at the Dominion dock, the team is shoving off to go test Matt's $1 million ROV.
Roger that. We'll cut lines here now. I'm just gonna grab a life jacket and then we'll go from there, dude.
Before it can be shipped offshore for its first ever paying job, it needs to pass a critical deep water pressure test.
Right now, we have a lot riding on MRV success, so I can't have a hiccup because then that's all everybody's ever going to remember is that hiccup.
Typical. Every time you mob an ROV or demob an ROV, it fucking rains. I think that's us.
Matt's got his mind on his money and proving that his impulse purchase can pay off.
This system here is designed to be launched in up to 6-meter seas. Everything about this is heavy duty. Everything about this is big. I could retire. Let's put it that way. I could retire with what I got into this ROV. But it's one of them things where they told me we couldn't, and I'm gonna prove them wrong.
You want to get me a couple cable ties? Thank you, sir.
The biggest catastrophe that could happen is we get water into the telemetry or the computer of the ROV. I don't want a damn thing to blow up. I don't want it to flood out. That makes for a very bad day.
Nothing like high voltage and water. Two of my favorite things in the world.
The only way to make sure the ROV is ready is lowering it into the deepest part of the harbor, a do-or-die test to see if it can survive the oppressive water pressure at typical working depth.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift up the ROV, start swinging it out over, then lowering it down to depth. Ready? Ready. So many electrical connections coming together that those are areas where water can ingress into the system. They're short out the circuit, blow the transformers, can blow components. So right now, that's why it's an important test for us.
So it's just a matter of watching it and coming out carefully, right?
They'll monitor the depth of the ROV by counting cable wraps spooling off the winch.
So we're gonna go down approximately 8 wraps. That'll give us about 200 feet.
That's one. Roger.
Right, 2. Okay, we're getting close to number 4. So every extra foot is adding more pressure. You just think of all the weight of all that water above you. You're at about 225 or 9.5 wraps.
The ROV has plummeted to more than 60 meters below the boat. The pressure at that depth is 7 times what it is at the surface.
We're gonna turn on the hydraulics. We're gonna bring everything online, function it, probably in the water for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. That's... Whoa!
Back with the dive team.
I see the birds. We're getting closer to the birds.
You can't see it from the surface, but some maritime wisdom leads Dominion to the exact location of the sewage pipe.
In this particular location, you basically just look for the whole bunch of seagulls that are floating on the surface, because they're right above where the diffusers diffuse. Maybe there's some leftover snacks there, or the water's a little warmer and the fish like it. So we're gonna put the train wheel down first, right?
It's hot out today. Yeah. Can't wait to get in there.
The pipe is as long as 4 football fields. The mission is to inspect the whole thing for leaks or damage. They'll start at the treatment plant and work their way offshore to the diffusers. The diffusers are a series of duct-built valves that slowly dilute treated sewage into the harbor, keeping pollutants below environmental levels. They can get smashed up by boats and storms, which lets all the wastewater just flow into the harbor unrestricted, shutting down local beaches and impacting marine life like seals or even great white sharks. Without treatment plants and properly functioning pipeline, over 200 million liters of raw sewage would end up in the harbor every day. That's enough to fill 25 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Halifax traffic, Dominion Bearcat.
Dominion Bearcat, Halifax traffic.
We're going to be getting set up here, and we will be conducting diving operations. We're taking a look at the outfall that runs from our position to the Halifax water plant onshore.
Roger.
All right, you ready to drop? I got the ladder.
The diver's name is Christian Sewell,
And he's going to continue following the rock berm. Go ahead, Christian.
The visibility is a little bit cloudy down here. I can see maybe 10 or 15 feet.
Christian can barely see the pipe in front of him,
It's a maze down here, man.
or whether there's a great white shark in the water behind him.
I believe I'm turned around now because I came to an end that way. So I'm just trying to figure out what's what here.
Holy fuck, did you guys see that? There's something swimming down here. What the fuck is that?
Over in the deepest part of the harbor, an electrical problem shuts down the ROV test.
Whoa! That was the noise I heard.
Where did you think it was coming from?
It's coming from in there.
We're shut down right now, yeah? You bring it up and you tell me when you're ready to fucking flash her.
Well, you want the headset on?
Yeah.
The electronics are shorting out, and Matt's $1 million baby is dangling, stranded 60 meters below the surface.
Shut her off. Oh, it's arcing big time.
On the umbilical.
On the armored umbilical coming in, the orange.
Right. Oh, fuck yeah, she melted itself.
So right now, we got the ROV sitting down about 10 feet from the sea bottom, and we had a bit of an electrical shorting, which tripped the system.
Until the team can repair the electronics and rescue it, Matt's precious ROV is the world's most expensive boat anchor.
So right now it's just dangling down there.
Back with the dive team, underwater, Christian's trying to regain his composure after a close encounter with marine life.
Holy shit, Dave, did you see that? There's a fucking seal down here.
Saw a great white shark.
I gotta come out and change my dry suit, Dave. He startled me.
That's funny. Was he right in your face?
Oh man, not like right in my face, but like I see him out of the corner of my eye. Holy.
Is he gone now?
Yeah, I think he took off. Doesn't want to mess with this meter stick, what?
Done. Fucking done.
It may have only been a seal, but all this shark talk has everyone on edge.
I didn't even know it was going down. It was amazing, man. It scared Christian a little bit, I think.
I'd say. They're fucking scary, man.
Wow.
What we not expecting?
When you're worried about great white sharks showing up and then some big thing swims by in your periphery,
What the fuck?
I can see it.
Weird, man. I was like staring into his eyes.
Yeah.
He was just like checking me out.
Punch it?
No, I have my meter stick ready though.
The next piece of shark bait will be Garry,
You should have names there. Give her a check.
but he doesn't scare easily.
You hear me all right in there?
Sharks aside, this should be a routine dive for Garry, a 10-year veteran with over 500 dives under his belt.
Stay on like the starboard side of the diffuser.
Yeah, it sounds good. Because I got you at 48 feet.
Oh, there you go. Like 75 minutes. Not that I memorized tables.
Every dive has risks. The team will follow strict time limits on how deep and how long Garry can go.
We're going to be conducting a visual inspection of the sewage treatment plant outfall. The diver's name is Garry Grundy.
This one is laying over on its side. It looks like it's broke off. So you can see it's kind of jagged where it's broke.
So yeah, we're gonna want to put that marker, that weight, right beside the diffuser that's fallen over, because that'll represent the offshore end, plus also an area that is damaged.
So this is the second diffuser from the offshore end.
Yeah, roger.
First one was broken, and this one appears to be intact and secure.
With limited bottom time, Gary's under pressure to inspect as much pipe as possible.
So that was number 5.
Yep, so we'll head into number 6.
Yeah, got good flow. Again, appears to be the same as all the others.
You got a little bit of time, so give you enough time to get back here, and this will be it for you. So we'll switch out divers.
All right.
Great job, Garry.
I smell worse.
Boots is in the water next to finish the job.
Good to go. So whenever you're ready, let me know, and we'll get the video going again. And
Number are we at?
this would be number 18. Just check her out, make sure everything's good.
Under the water, the job is going as planned with no sign of sharks. But up on deck, there's real danger. Something's wrong with Garry.
I'll go back and get the buoy.
Now, just come on back. I'm gonna bring Boots out. Want to bring Boots?
That's always go. You just gotta...
I know, but Gary's up here. He's not feeling good now, so we're gonna pull you out and we're gonna go back and see what's going on.
Okay.
We were doing some stuff on deck, and then he started getting dizzy. He's just breathing some O2 right now, and we'll get back into shore and get someone else to take a look.
Garry needs emergency attention, but before they can return him to shore, they have to get Boots safely out of the water. Across the harbor, back on board the barge,
The boys will bring this around.
See if there's any nicks.
But it looks like it arced right.
Yeah, right there.
right there.
An electrical meltdown has left Matt's $1 million ROV in deep trouble.
That's a knife mark in the insulation.
One flick of a knife may have caused Matt $1 million piece of equipment, a big money construction contract, and his reputation.
And it all starts from a nick from a knife.
Until the team can rebuild the charred umbilical, the deepwater test has shifted to a deepwater rescue.
Right now the ROV is 250 feet below where we're standing. So, real fast, we have to do a workaround. Is it the best way of doing it? No. Will it get us home? Yes.
Go on the earth here. Right.
They need to get power to the MRV in order to get it safely back on board.
They're gonna flash up now. Okay, don't look right at it, guys.
Silence is good.
Silence is good, but it's scary.
Telemetry's good. Coming up on sub motor. Everybody staying clear, please.
Okay. This is the test right now.
There's $1 million hanging on a cable held together by electrical tape, ingenuity, and wishful thinking.
That's her. That's the power up and running. The ROV is up and running.
It's on and idle, so it's always sitting at 5 amps right now. We'll check to make sure that it comes out now.
Alrighty, see? It's all good.
With the system up and running, now the ROV can be recovered.
There it is. Start to see the glow.
There's your TMS.
There it is. Brake surface.
Retrieving the ROV may feel like success, but ultimately, the test was a failure.
That's her. We're heading back to Duck Rock.
The team will race home to repair the ROV before they can ship it offshore for the big money construction contract. Back on the dive boat.
Yeah, I just sort of started getting almost like a vertigo-y type thing. So I just put him on O2, and I'm pulling boots out of the water, and we're gonna come back in and just see what's going on. His actual was about 52 feet, and he was 50 minutes.
Every symptom is pointing to decompression sickness, aka the bends. When a diver is down deep, pressure squeezes tiny bubbles of gas in their bloodstream. As they come back up, the pressure decreases and the bubbles get bigger. Come up too fast, and the bubbles saturate the blood and muscles, causing excruciating pain, neurological problems, strokes, even death.
Let's focus on getting our anchors up and getting ourselves on the move.
But it doesn't make sense. Garry wasn't down deep enough or long enough for this sort of problem. They took every precaution. Still, Dave's not taking any chances.
What I'm doing is just keeping an eye on him, making sure he's okay. And then if anything changes, like he starts a seizure or whatever, they'll be right here and I can do anything that he needs, basically.
With diving-related things, we always treat everything as a big deal because it's possible that it is.
Can I borrow your wrist real quick? Get your pulse.
This is a diver's worst nightmare. Every second of the trip back to base feels like an eternity. During the trip, Garry takes a turn for the worse.
Yep. No, I'm just, my eyes closed are bad. Yeah. Okay, give me your hand. Give me your hand. It's like basically a crazy feeling of,
Yeah. Just keep right a hold of him.
Yep, I got him.
Now you're crossing across the boat.
Step up, step up.
No, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, no, just, he's okay.
There you go. You're good.
Dave decides Garry needs to go straight to the hospital. Even with a sick friend and sharks in the water, Dominion's got to finish what they started. The rest of the dive crew needs to get back to work on the sewage pipe.
We're basically back where we left off. And we're right back at it. We've delivered Garry to shore, and as far as what we can do for him, that's about it, right? We transferred him in good hands, so he'll get looked at.
But across town,
41-year-old male, 15 minutes after coming to the surface at the dive site, he started to stagger around, became ataxic.
Gary's been rushed to the hyperbaric medicine unit.
Put him in the head first, and we'll go to get him in the chamber. We're looking at a type 2 neurologic decompression sickness here. I need to find out if he's ataxic. Have sit up for us. That's good. There you go. All right, I'm gonna put you through a couple of tests. We're gonna protect you, make sure that you're all right. You've never had an episode of decompression sickness in the past. We're gonna take the oxygen off and we'll get you into the chamber. And it's most comfortable for you when you've got your eyes closed. Heather, you'll be on the chamber.
The chamber replicates the pressure from a deep dive, crushing those bubbles in the bloodstream back down to size, where they can slowly be passed naturally.
We believe right now that Garry's had what's called an episode of vestibular decompression sickness. We've taken Garry to a depth in the chamber of 60 feet seawater. We've crushed the bubbles that are in his inner ear. If we can't get him better, he may never drive again, let alone dive.
It's been nearly a week since the ROV was stranded at the sea bottom, and the whole crew has been under pressure to fix it ever since.
I have the pilot console for the sub. This is the main device used to fly the ROV. Basically, the system that is used to navigate, fly, turn stuff on and off, make this ROV work.
Since one exposed wire caused the electrical meltdown, over the last few days, Dwayne has ripped apart, resoldered, and rewired the entire brain of the ROV.
So hopefully that's been remedied and we'll go from there. There's a lot of wires and a lot of finicky stuff on it, that's for sure.
Everyone's busting their asses to get this done on time. The ROV needs to be shipped offshore for the construction contract in a week. Everything's got to be reconnected and run through its paces.
Get them to run it right through the whole function so everything fills full of oil.
I'm at 150 bar.
Okay, he's got 155 bar, Glenn.
Before they can risk putting the ROV back in the water to reattempt the failed deep water test, they need to make sure everything will hold up.
We're not seeing any leaks or anything, eh?
Nope. Yeah, do every function all the way, full stroke everything.
They put the brain back on board. They're testing the robotic arm.
I'm just watching the hoses in here. All right, tell them go ahead. Yeah, cycle it all the way.
Every propeller's got to fire exactly on cue and work together in perfect synchronicity.
No, that's fine.
After a week of intensive high-pressure medical treatment, Garry is finally surfacing. But still no explanation as to why he got bent.
Most divers who suffer from decompression sickness will get better with 2 or 3 treatments, many even just 1. Garry required repetitive deep tables for 7 days straight. We're still investigating why this happened to him because he was diving well within the decompression limits. Dominion Diving and Garry did nothing wrong. It was, for this to happen, they're very safe divers.
So I'll just get you to confirm your birthday for me.
Yeah, July 28th, 1977.
So Garry, I'm going to be using these electrodes here. They're kind of like little sensors. They pick up your heart signals, and you won't feel anything from this test. It's very non-invasive. As I mentioned, they're just little sensors.
If you get to a chamber with decompression illness, usually it relieves the symptoms right away. But I went in and I didn't really get any relief. So then I was like, well, this sucks.
All right, so just keep your arms and legs nice and still and relaxed.
Right now I am a mystery because the dive we did, like 52 feet, we were on a 60-foot table. We left right at 50 minutes. They just want to see what's going on.
Just have a few questions for you. Any remote history of syncope, as in like fainting out or passing out? And
Yeah, when I was younger, I fainted a couple times.
shortness of breath or anything?
No.
No.
Gary's gainfully employed until we can make a final decision. He just can't go back to work in the water.
Back at Dominion, it's down to the wire to repair Matt's money pit of an ROV before it can be shipped offshore to finally make some cash.
What's that noise? It's probably just a little back pressure on it.
They've just barely recovered from the electrical meltdown, and now the hydraulics have Matt worried.
Something's leaking somewhere. It's probably just compressing, right? Yeah, it sounds like it's dripping though. It's like, yeah, but I know.
Faulty wiring caused the Deepwater test catastrophe, but there's no way Dwayne's gonna put MRV back in the water if the hydraulics leak.
Can't put an oil-based system into water if it's pissing oil all over the place. The environment doesn't care, doesn't really like that. As long as everything holds pressure, we're gonna work on getting the TMS, bring that down, put that on the skid.
The tether management system gets connected to the ROV and takes care of spooling out the umbilical cable that supports it during an underwater mission.
Coming down, brother.
Looks like you got her.
Okay, I'm gonna swing A-frame towards us.
Hold it, hold it.
Are we sure that's water?
We're not sure.
Hey, Red.
Yes.
You wanna toss me up some nappies?
Some what?
Some nappies?
Lots.
Yeah, I'll need a few.
Was that water you're supping up right in the...
No, there's a mixture of water and oil. Where the flying feck is that coming from?
An oil leak now would scrub the second test.
Jesus Christ. Do me a favor. Turn on the hydraulic power pack and rotate.
At this point, a leak would cost them days of work and potentially the offshore construction contract.
If you have a hydraulic leak, that ROV doesn't go anywhere near the water. Found it! Oh yeah, she's bleeding good. Found it! We got a motor problem. Feck.
Across town at the hospital,
Morning.
Gary's been sent to cardiology to try to figure out what caused him to get sick on a routine dive.
So Dr. Pestle, she sent you along to kind of look at what had happened because of this episode of a vestibular decompression type 2, no less. Yeah. So the dive you had that led to this was not out of keeping with something you might have.
No, it was a pretty, like, it was a
Pretty
well, I
standard.
call it just a nothing dive.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It was well within the tables. Nothing too strenuous. It was just an inspection dive.
So at this stage, I should have a listen to your heart, and if you can come over here for a second.
After a week of decompression and testing, Garry finally discovers why he got sick on a carefully executed routine dive.
I got a hole in my heart. There's bubbles that'll go through my heart instead of going through my lungs, so that causes the issue. So it means I'm not diving anymore. Still have to do an EKG and a couple other tests, but that's it for now.
It's not life-threatening, but it could be fatal for his diving career.
To do this high risk of diving without correcting his heart condition would be too high risk, and he shouldn't be diving anymore.
Might get repaired, might not. I don't really know right now.
After nearly 2 weeks of work and a boatload of resources, Matt thinks his ROV might be ship-shape at last.
Yeah. So that's going to your gauge. I don't know why that's pissing oil. We should almost replace that hose.
The Dominion team has worked around the clock to repair and refit the entire hydraulic system.
There's thousands of hydraulic connections on that system. So it's systematically going through each individual part of a hydraulic system and just making sure that all the fittings, all the hoses, all the O-rings, all the seals are all good. Every line's been taken off and been redone and tweaked, so there's a lot of fittings in here. You got to double check to make sure that they all got tight.
Which we all did in the shop.
Yes.
But to triple check, they'll need to bring out MRV, connect it to the launch system, and then submerge it in the shallow water off the dock.
Okay. So here we are with the ROV on board, the TMS in place, everything's hooked up. We want to be able to make sure that the hydraulic systems are cleaned and ready to rock and roll.
I'll stop before we hit the water,
Yeah.
that way you can go on the
Come
stick.
on a wee bit, yeah. Aye.
Roger.
As long as you can see the top, which you can.
As MRV's lowered, there's one thing they're watching for, but don't want to see.
You put an ROV that's got oil all over it in the water, and you literally have a rainbow in the water showing that you've got an oil leak.
With only 2 days remaining before MRV needs to be shipped off to the construction contract, more leaks are something they can't afford.
If a client see that rainbow, they will get on the horn and they will tell you to get that ROV out of the water in a heartbeat.
See what it looks like inside.
We put it in the water, things are starting to smooth out, work better, function, so now they're in there basically pushing the blood through the system, making sure them arms operate. I see if there's any water ingress in our pods and any hydraulic fluid leak. There was none. We were happy with that. So we called it done.
It's a little bit of a milestone, a little bit of an achievement.
Well, I would say that's good enough. Just leave it at that, yeah?
Whew.
The real test will be the squeeze tomorrow under high pressure in 60 meters of water. They've only got 2 days left. At Dominion, the work never stops. Unless you're a diver with a recently diagnosed hole in your heart.
I can't get in the water until this either gets fixed or the doctor says it's okay for me to get in the water, which I don't foresee. So, yeah, I have a defect in my heart, so, but it's going to be longer before I'll be able to dive again. So.
That's, when I say surprising, it's surprising to me because just of all the diving.
It's a small one, that's why. Like even they said it's small, so that's why it just happened to be this time.
That's why I wasn't picked up on any medicals.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.
Problem.
Luckily, Gary's found a place in the hearts of his bosses. They're keeping him working at Dominion while he waits.
Garry is a talented guy. We depend heavily on our supervisors, and Gary's a senior supervisor here. Garry has ability to repair diving equipment properly. He's putting his full effort in to make himself continue to be valuable while he gets this figured out.
So all before this, I was super healthy, and now I have to deal with this.
These people are my family. It's a support system, really. You have to rally around everybody and put your trust in the doctors and hope that they can fix him. He's young and healthy, and hopefully he can continue on with his career.
I talked to the doctor, and she was just being realistic, just like, oh, I don't know if you're going to be able to dive again.
Gary has a long road ahead of him. He'll need heart surgery if he ever wants to dive again.
I'm not ready to give up diving yet. If I could get it fixed, I would like to get it fixed. So right now, I'm a tech monkey.
The next morning in the harbor.
So we have a little bit of space in the bottom. That shows us that oil's pretty happy. Yeah, that might be between the gasket anyway, we're hoping anyway, we'll see.
Matt's only got 1 day left to prove his ROV is seaworthy. Will the third time be the charm? Or will he be 3 times denied? The first time, this happened. The second time they tested it, the hydraulics sprung a leak.
Hold it. Was that water you're supping up right in the...
No, there's a mixture of water and oil.
See, an ROV is electric, but there's also oil, aka hydraulics, which acts like the blood of the system. You put oil and water and electricity together, well, now you just got a nightmare.
If the ROV fails this test, they'll lose the contract offshore, tens of thousands of dollars, and sink further in the hole on the $1 million machine.
Everything looks good. I don't see oil, which is nice. So it's not leaking. That's a good thing.
All right, there's HBU. All right, Donnie, we're just getting ready to lift off here and drive her in. What we'll do is we'll count. We'll go down. Before we hit the water, we'll count.
So we're gonna drop it right down to the depth, hold it there. We're gonna flash up the hydraulics, start functioning some of the servos, and that way there, we get the system's getting a good working stress. It's getting put under pressure.
With the MRV submerged and under pressure, Dwayne readies himself for the moment of truth. Flipping the switch to power up the ROV at the end of the tether.
What do you think, is it going to work out this time or not?
I hope so. I hope it was just a shortage phase on the motor. Hopefully it wasn't anything else.
So far, so good.
As soon as we put the ROV in the water, and we go to flash up the power, of course it's gonna happen at that time.
But everyone's nerves are frayed.
Once everything's flashed back up and powered up and you see that it's actually working, it's like, oh wow, I can give myself a pat on the back. It's fantastic.
How's she going?
Yeah, we're at 41 meters.
41 meters, what's that in feet?
134, 135 feet. 3.2. Do we want to look over at the T16?
They've got power to the ROV, but now the hydraulics have to pass the test.
You watch your oil temp and motor temp, and I will watch your current.
First thing we do, though, see our alarms to see if there's any water ingress in our pods and any hydraulic fluid leak.
Working, how's our oil look? Ooh.
81, oil temperatures went up.
A bit of a squeeze.
There was none. We were quite happy with that.
So we are just over 10 amps. We're sitting at about 12. Oil temp looks good. Motor temp looks good.
All the auxiliary hydraulic circuits moved. All the arms worked. Oh, it's a full working circuit now. From top to bottom, that ROV is 100% right now. Now we know what we have to offer our clients. And it's a mean, mean machine.
It's been a long road. It's been a bumpy road. We've had our ups and downs, but that's in the past. We have nothing but the future to look forward to now.
There it is. Start to see the glow.
It's a huge sigh of relief for a lot of people in this company, me, myself included.
There it is. Brake surface.
We have a completed test and a rebuilt sub. This is how we can present it to a potential client that's going to charter it, or a potential buyer that would be interested in purchasing the vehicle.
So now we're bringing her back on, setting her down on deck. That's her. We're heading back to Duck Rock.
It's been years in the making, but these last few weeks, Matt and his team have brought his $1 million MRV back to life. Just in time to be shipped offshore for its first big money contract.
It pretty much is work ready. We're good to go. Send it at the door. Hey, Donnie, that's good for us. We can start heading in there, dude. We're going back home. We're done, baby.